there, I'm Olivia. Thank you so much for taking the time to chat with me today. How are you? Very good. Yes, me too. Great, so I'm part of the product team here at Megaflow, and we're doing a series of short user interviews like this to better understand how folks like you are using this tool in real life. We're also interested in hearing about features that you'd like to be added to the tool. I just want to set the scene. There's no pressure. I'm just going to ask you a few open-ended questions. I'll be typing up your responses as we go. There's no right or wrong answers, okay? We just want to hear your honest feedback on using Megaflow, and your personal information is not at all tied to your survey, so your responses are perfectly confidential. How does that sound? Very good. Okay, let's dive right in. All right, so first off, can you tell me a little bit about what made you start using Megaflow? Streamlining, okay. That's very good. Okay, so it sounds like you were looking for something to help streamline task tracking across your team. Were you using any tools before you tried Megaflow? Okay, you came from using spreadsheets. Let me type that down. Okay. And what was missing from the spreadsheets that you were looking for with another tool? Okay. You wanted something that was more intuitive, more visual. Okay. Great. And how did you initially find Megaflow? Okay. Okay, so it was through an online article from a site that you trust. Can you maybe tell me a little bit more about that article or about that site? Okay. One of those like listicles, is that what you mean? Okay. All right, so it's a site that you trusted, and they posted one of those listicle type articles with recommended products for the workplace. Did I get that right? Okay, great. And did you consider any competitors before choosing us? Okay. Okay, that's really helpful. So you were considering other competitors. So is there anything in particular that made you choose Megaflow versus those other companies out there? Okay, you really trusted that website. Oh, that makes sense. Okay. So that 1 month free trial that we offer really pushed you over the edge. Okay, very nice. Okay, thank you. Can you tell me more about your experience when you first landed on our website? So like, it sounds like you were on that other website that you trusted and you clicked the link to get to our website. What was that experience like? Okay, that's good. It was simple, easy to get the information you wanted. Okay, and you also liked the video demos that we offered. Okay, great. Was there anything that you didn't like or maybe that was missing from the website when you first landed there? Okay. Yeah, let me mark that down. Okay. So I have that you wish that there was more FAQs and how-tos, that sort of thing. Okay. Perfect. Thank you so much for providing that feedback. That's really good feedback. I'll ask you a bit more about that in just a little bit, okay? Okay, great. So next, what was your experience like in registering for Megaflow? Did you find that it was easy? Was it difficult? Somewhere in the middle? Registering was easy. That's good. Okay. And what was your initial impression of MegaFlow when you first logged in? And again, please feel free to be totally honest, good, bad, or in between. You like that's visually appealing. That's good. Oh, okay. Yeah, let me make sure I note that. So onboarding felt a little confusing to you. And can you tell me a bit more about that? What about it was confusing? Okay, so you didn't know which features to focus on first. Okay, and getting started with your first board. So it sounds like it was a little overwhelming trying to figure out how to get that first board created. It was a bit of a learning curve. Okay. Okay. That's really useful feedback. Thank you so much for being honest. So with that in mind, was there a moment where MegaFlow started clicking for you? Okay. And then it started really clicking. Okay. Okay. So you went online, you found some tutorials online about how to use the tool. And then you said once you got it set up and running, you were pretty pleased with it. So it's just that getting things started initially that you found difficult and challenging. In fact, you needed to go online to search for how to do that. Did I get that right? Okay. And those tutorials online, where did you find those online? Was it from our website? Oh, a different website, YouTube? YouTube. Okay. So you looked at a few YouTube videos that showed you step by step. Okay. Okay. Next, I'm actually going to share my screen with you, and I'm just going to pull up MegaFlow so you have a visual to help you with the next few questions. Let me set that up. Okay. Can you see my screen? Great. Okay. And I've actually given you control of the mouse, so you can move around and point things out to me if you'd like to. Yeah, great. So once it started clicking for you, what are some of the features that have worked well for you? Yeah, you like those color tags over there. Okay. And those visual indicators. Very good. Okay. Totally agree. Great. Okay. And was there anything that felt frustrating or more difficult than you expected other than the onboarding? I've definitely notated that, but anything else? Okay. Okay. Yeah. So what I'm hearing is that the notification settings were also a little bit overwhelming, and you felt that the default alerts were a bit excessive. Did I get that right? And it took some digging to find the customization options. That's not good. Okay, thank you for that feedback. I'll make that note for the team for sure. And it sounds pretty related to the onboarding. So it's just generally getting started was a bit challenging, but you seem pretty happy once you got up and running. Yeah. Okay. Okay. So that leads to the next question. If you had a magic wand and you could change something, anything about MegaFlow, what would it be? Right. Of course, the onboarding and the customizations. Ah, okay. Okay, so you're looking for like a timeline view. Are you thinking something like a Gantt chart maybe? Okay. That'll help with project management. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Yeah, bear with me 1 second. I want to make sure I get this note down. And can you show me on the screen maybe where you would want that feature to live? Okay. Right there. Okay. Fantastic. That makes perfect sense. Okay, next question. Have you or would you recommend Megaflow to anyone else? You have already. Okay. And what made you feel ready to do that? Okay. That's okay. Okay, great. So you recommended Megaflow to a colleague. You did that because you saw that your team didn't need to be reminded anymore, like they needed to be with the spreadsheets that you were using before. And you mentioned that you helped the colleague get set up, since that was a challenge for you. Okay. Have you heard any feedback from your colleague about how they're using Megaflow? Okay. So they tipped you or thanked you for tipping them on to the product. That's good. Okay. Great. All right. Next question. How likely would you say that you are to keep using Megaflow over, let's say, the next year or so? Yeah, we could say on a scale of 1 to 10. Okay, an 8. And what has you choosing that number? Okay, you're generally happy with the tool, but of course you want that timeline feature added in the future. And that's what's keeping you from giving it a 10? Okay. That's very useful feedback, thank you. Okay, great. I do want to go back to the onboarding that you experienced. I know you told me a little bit about it already, but would you mind just going a little bit deeper into what that experience was like for you? Maybe walk me through what you did, when you did it, what you experienced throughout that. Mm-hmm. Uh-huh. And that's when you went to YouTube? Okay. Okay. Fantastic. Okay. Thank you so much for sharing that. Do you maybe have any ideas as to what we could add in order to give you a more satisfactory or maybe even a more wow onboarding experience? Okay, like a walk me feature. Okay. That's something you've experienced with other tools? Okay. That's a great idea. That makes perfect sense. Thank you. Okay. So I'm definitely highlighting this for the team. It's all really good feedback. And again, I thank you so much. For this last part of the interview, I do want to get your feedback on some features that Megaflow is considering adding to the product. So what I'm hoping is that you can tell me what you think about each of these features. Just want to make sure. Can you see this window that I just displayed for you on the screen? Okay, good. So you'll see on here that the features are going to be on these little sticky notes here, and I'm going to ask for your help in helping me place them on this chart here, depending on if you think that the features that we're going to talk about are expected features or more like delightful features, or maybe features that you really don't care about. When I say expected features, I mean that you would expect any and every task management tool to have that feature. Like, that is table stakes. And then delightful means that it's not expected, but it's something that you would enjoy, kind of like an above and beyond feature. Does that make sense? Yeah, and we'll place them on this chart here. You can see it looks like a spectrum. Great, thank you. Okay, so first up, here's the first sticky. So the first feature is a way to track dependencies of the different tasks and subtasks. Would you consider that expected, delightful, or unneeded? Okay. What do you think about it being here? A little bit more to the left? Okay. How's that? Good. And let me make a little note about, you mentioned that it sounds valuable to you. That's something you would like that you hadn't thought about before. You would love to see it. Okay. Maybe even a little expected. Okay. Great. I've notated that. And here's the next sticky. And this feature is the ability to customize different fields, like different names and such. Okay, you sound enthusiastic about that one. Okay, and so would you call that more expected or more delightful? Okay, pretty close to expected, but a little closer to delightful. How's this placement? Good. Okay. Is there anything you want me to add for your feedback on that one? Right. Okay. Good idea. Okay, great. Thank you. All right, so the next feature, here's the sticky, and it's for reporting and analytics. So this would be the ability to generate reports like for completion rates or productivity metrics and other relevant data like that. Okay, it's not very important to you. Okay, so I'll drag the sticky here. What do you think about that? Perfect. Okay. Got it. Okay, here's the next feature. It's for mobile access. So this is being able to access MegaFlow from a phone or a tablet. What do you think about that one? Okay, your company is totally computer-based. You guys don't use mobile. Okay. Yeah, that's really thoughtful. So you don't have the need for mobile access, but you can see how others might. Okay. Yeah, so we'll be framing this around you and your experience and your needs. So with that in mind, I'm going to move the sticky here. What do you think about that placement? Is that okay? Yeah, for you. Okay. Okay. All right. The next feature is automation. So this would allow users to automate recurring tasks, to trigger actions based on things like task status, things like that. Okay. Okay, so that's another one that you're really excited about. Would you consider that to be expected or delightful? Okay. All right, so you would consider it delightful for today, but you could see how that would be expected real soon. That's something that you think that you and other users will expect in the next couple of years. But for today, it would be delightful. Okay. So with that in mind, I'll place it over here to the right. Do you like that? Okay. Great. And I'm actually, bear with me a moment here. Let me add a sticky. Add that there. Okay, so as you can see, I added a sticky for the onboarding experience that you described for me earlier, and I assume that you would want me to put this as an expected feature. Yeah. Okay, great. We'll put it right there then. Okay, and then lastly, are there any features that we haven't talked about but that you would want added to MegaFlow? Mm-hmm. Okay. That's really good feedback. Okay, let me write that down. Okay. All right, so let's make sure I got this down right. So it sounds like you'd like a feature to integrate MegaFlow into other important tools that you use, like email, calendars, your project management software, things like that. Great. Also your instant messenger. Okay. Fantastic. That's great feedback. And where on the spectrum would you like me to put this new sticky? Okay, we'll put it between expected and delightful. Right there? Okay, great. All right, bear with me one moment here. Those are all the questions that I had for you. Let me just skim back through everything I typed. Make sure we're not missing anything. Okay, everything is looking really good. So do you have anything for me before we end today? Okay. No, that's great. Yeah. Okay. Well, I wanted to thank you again for participating in this user interview. Your feedback was super helpful. I'll make sure that this gets summarized for our product and design teams. And again, we'll anonymize all of the data before anything is shared. And if you're open to it, we may actually have a follow-up in a couple of months for feedback on any new features that we end up launching. Is that something you might be open to? Oh, fantastic. Thank you so much. Great. Well, that's everything on my side. I really appreciate you doing this for us, and I hope you have a fantastic day, okay? Great. Thank you.